Good morning, lovely first graders. It's so great to see you again today. I was just sitting here thinking about you and how much I miss you guys. I know there's lots of things going on in everyone's life. Some things are really good, some things are really hard, some things are just kind of in the middle. Please keep letting me know how things are going for you, whether you sign up for a time just to talk one-on-one with me on Friday, or if you just want to talk a different time, just have mom or dad message me. If you just want to shoot me messages or videos, please do so, okay? All right, kiddos, today is a big day because we are finally in our writing today. So I know you guys have some really fun activities planned for on the Scholastic State for reading. You're doing a great job either choosing epic books or Raz Kids books, or some of you are reading some books or a series of books at home, which is great. So that's great. I just want you to make sure that you find some books that you're super interested in. Those books that you kind of just get lost in and you forget that you're even reading, right? That's what we really want to get to right now at the end of first grade. So first graders, I would like to kind of go over today, and I'm going to show you an example of my own writing from my plan that I showed you on Tuesday. So let's get started. Okay, here we go. Today is Thursday, April 30th, 2020, and the short date 4-30-20. And if we do the days of the week, let's do it. Days of the week, days of the week, days of the week, days of the week, days of the week. There's Sunday and there's Monday, there's Tuesday and there's Wednesday, there's Thursday and there's Friday, and then there's Saturday. Days of the week, days of the week, days of the week, days of the week, days of the week. Months of the year: January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. Then we start a new year. 30 days are in September, April, June, and November. All the rest have 31 except for February, which has 28. How many days does April have? Only 30, which means tomorrow is what? May, right? It's our 5th month. January, February, March, April, May. So tomorrow is May Day, and that's always a fun one to say, right? So look forward to fun announcements tomorrow on the Riverside site, and make sure tomorrow that you are or today, by the end of today, make sure that you're posting your introduction to your writing on Flipgrid under the date this week, so that we get a chance to experience what you're writing about, right? Your whole writing won't be done, of course, because we're going to keep writing this story next week. We just wanted your introduction, your hook today, so that's what you'll share on Flipgrid. And then also, don't forget about that Fun Fridays tab on Flipgrid that I'd like you at some point during the week, whether it's every Friday or at some other point during the week, I'd like you to share something fun that you're doing. Something on the choice board or something new that you're learning at home. Something that you'd like to teach the rest of us. We would love to see that. Okay, so post that on Flipgrid too. Okay, all right, kiddos, so here we go. Today, I'm not going to do a phonics, the whole phonics lesson with you. Mrs. Place does one, right, every Monday and Wednesday, and then Mrs. Winters just does like a little sneak peek of it, not the whole phonics lesson, but just a little sneak peek of our back and forth call and response phonics on our writing days. Okay, so let's get started, and then I will show you my example for writing today. Okay, here we go. So I am going to rewind. We always start with a little rhyming, and rhyming is a really important thing for learning how to read and write, so that's why we do so much of it. Okay, here we go. Thumbs up or down. I say season, reason. You say. I say tulip, lilac. You say. They're both flowers, but they don't rhyme, right? That ending part of the word after the first vowel doesn't rhyme, okay? I say people, steeple. You say. Good. Next up, we're going to pound these, and you're going to put them all together. Here we go. Centimeter. Centimeter. Good. That unit of measurement that we've used with our little centimeter cubes at our base 10 stick. Okay. Expensive. Expensive. Tornado. Tornado. Detective. Detective. Good. Next up, I want to hear the middle sounds. I say blurt. You say middle sound good. It's not a vowel by itself because it's controlled by that R. Remember, those are controlled sounds, right? You are, that sound is one of those are controlled. That R is very controlling. Okay, I say strike. You say middle sound I. Good. And I say fact. You say middle sound good. All right, next up for our quick phonics review here, I'm going to say a word, you repeat the word, and then pound it out. Here we go. I say beginning, you say pound it. I say gasoline, you say pound it. I say Titanic, you say pound it. I say dinner time, you say dinner time. Good. Next up, I'm going to say a part of a word. You're going to add part to the beginning and tell me a new word. Here we go. I say able. You say add un to the beginning. Unable. Good. And un is a prefix that means not. So whatever you put un in front of, it's going to change the exact opposite meaning of what the root word was. So instead of able, something you can do, unable is the opposite of able. You can't do it. Okay? I say connect, you say add disconnect, right? If I connect two chords, I would go like this. If I disconnect two chords, I'm doing the opposite and pulling them apart, okay? I say inder, you say add cylinder. Good, pound it, cylinder. And that was a perfect word because you guys are learning about cylinders, right? Those 3D shapes that have two circular, flat faces and they can roll in the middle like a paper towel tube, right? I say vival, you say add survival. Survival, good. Now we're going to say a whole word and you're going to take off one of the claps. Here we go. I say September, you say without sep. September, good. I say computer, you say without computer, good. I say octagon, you say without act. Again, there's another 3D shape. It's almost like we knew you were studying about that in math, right? I say electric, you say without the E. Electric. Good job. Okay, one last part. This is the old switcheroony, right? Where we take off a part, we replace it with a new part. Here we go. I say turtle, you say take off the and add I. I'm sorry. I say turtle, you say take off the and add I. Title, right? Like the title of your story, which is one of the things that you're going to make sure you have for today, okay? I say goggles, you say take off the and add I. Giggles, right? On Tuesday it was tickles, now it's giggles. I say puddle, you say without the add oo. Poodle, a type of dog, right? And I say taking, you say take off the A and add aw. Talking. Nice job. All right, kiddos, that was our warm-up for phonics today. Nice job doing a little bit of phonics with either Mrs. Wonderful or Mrs. Place every day. All right, kiddos, so let me take you back to Tuesday. And again, I was just using my spiral notebook, right? Because everyone should have a spiral notebook. And I just kind of redrew that organizer, and I just quickly kind of went through my story, first, next, then last, on what was actually happening. I kind of started with the setting, how I was feeling, place and time. Then we moved to, something wrong was happening, right? This is what I was saying, thinking, hearing. I put some labels on here. And then, after that lamp crashed and I about swallowed my tongue because it was so loud, I ran into the living room, asked Bella if she was okay. Obviously, she couldn't tell me, but she kind of told me by wagging her curly little tail, right? And I ran in there, I gave her a hug, right? I didn't worry that the lamp was broken. I just wanted to make sure she wasn't stepping in any of that glass from the broken light bulbs. And then we just kind of cuddled. She did have a scrape that was bleeding on her side, so I had to make sure that that was going to be okay. And then we just kind of took care of that, cuddled. We made sure, because she was shaking a lot, right? Just like just like humans would if something really sudden happened, right? So now we get to the fun where we get to pick a hook, right? And today in the mini lesson, you talked about different hooks, and we have talked about this all year, right? For example, you might hook the reader with a sound, right? Like boom, or woo, or pop, 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 right? Some sort of sound that all of a sudden we're like in your story, right? Because when you start with a hook like a sound, it just makes us so interested. Okay, you might start with the setting. You might just tell us like this is this day last year, right? And in fact, in my story, I start with a setting. Okay, I kind of paint the picture for you of where I was, what it was feeling around me. Was I at school? Was I at Target? Was I at the grocery store? Was I home? In this story, I was home, okay? You also can start with or have lots of talking in your story. So the more talking you have, the more dialogue, the more thinking, the more things that you're actually saying to someone in your story, the more interesting that becomes, okay? And then sometimes people write starting with a question, right? Like, have you ever wondered how, or do you remember the time when? So one of those questions really gets us interested in what you're reading, okay? So what we're going to be doing, kiddos, is we're going to be kind of reading through our story for today, okay? So our story for today was kind of going back to what I organized the other day, okay? And I'm going to read this to you guys so that you can see my example. Now, notice when I did my spiral notebook, right? Our spiral notebook doesn't have those really nice lines that we're used to having when we write, okay? So what I did was I just highlighted a line for my title. You can just take any color marker, okay? I just kind of made a line for my title. And then I kind of changed this notebook, which is really written, the lines are for more like an older kid, okay? So I changed the structure of that a little bit just by kind of skipping every third line and just making a line with my marker, okay? So that way it kind of turned into one of those lines that we can kind of see the middle line for our capital or lowercase, okay? So my story is called The Big Crash, right? And we already knew that from the planning that we did on Tuesday. Okay, now notice the hook that I chose for my small moment writing was one sunny July afternoon. So out of those 4 choices, I chose the setting. Okay, you could have chose a sound, you could have chose a question, you could have chose talking. I chose the setting, okay? And I'm just going to read mine to you. Now, this is only the first part. This is only my hook, my introduction. Obviously, next week I'll continue this, okay? So here we go. The Big Crash. One sunny July afternoon, I was sitting on my back deck, relaxing while I read a book. I was just about to my favorite part when... Crash! Oh, I couldn't believe it. What just happened? Bella is the only other family member home, I thought to myself. Dun, 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 right? Now, you can see right now, my next page is blank, right? This is only the start of my story because I'm writing it just like you guys are. So when you're listening to that mini lesson, I'm doing the same thing that you are. Okay, so it's just as fun for me as it is for you. So this is just my introduction, and I want to challenge you today to have a really good hook right away in the beginning. If you need to rewatch the video, go for it. I want to challenge you to have some questions in there, some talking, and lots of feeling. Okay, I can't wait to see what you come up with. Make sure after you're done writing it today, you post a picture on your Seesaw, but also make sure you share that on Flipgrid because then all the other kids in class get to see that. Okay, have a great day.